Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Good evening, my friends. This is Angy Stewart from InnerLight, and we are here again live on Kardec Radio. Tonight is Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So super happy to be here. We had to transfer the program from weekly to monthly. As I mentioned the last time, I'm starting another post-graduation, so I'm not used to so much studying, working full-time, taking care of family. It's a lot of things to juggle, but it's always something new that we are learning. So this is very exciting. So I'm super happy to be here. And as usual, we have our guests. So it's awesome to count with our guests, and we can continue our study. So if you're new, we always study the gospel according to Spiritism, and we also study what is Spiritism. This is another book that a few people know about, and is an excellent book that Kardec wrote to help all of us, the ones that know a lot about Spiritism and the ones that are kind of learning. So let's go. We don't have much time. Let me bring our guests. So we have here Priscila Imato. Hello, Priscila.
Hi, Angy. Thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you for having you here with us. So Priscila is from Chicago. Super happy to have her with us online. This is awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. I hope that we enjoy a lot the studies today.
Yes, we will. And we have also Jackie. Jackie has been with us for a long time already, and Jackie will be helping me in our monthly studies. She's my neighbor here from Miami. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Angy, for having us here today.
That's awesome. That's awesome to be able to count with you both. So as we start, the ideal, let me think. Yes. So Priscilla, would you like to do our initial prayer so we can start together in this good vibration? And we dive in our studies.
Okay. So let's go. Let's close our eyes, elevate our thoughts. Ask for God and for our Master Jesus to protect all of us tonight. May the good spirits, our mentors, they keep us protected. They guide us in our study so we can learn a lot. We can get out of here today with more information, knowing more about Spiritism, about mediumship, and also how to be a better person, a better spirit. So may God bless us tonight and always. So be it.
Thank you so much. So be it. Very good. Awesome. So if you are joining us right now, please remember to put your water bottle there, because we will do another prayer at the final of our study, and you can have your great medication for the week there. So let's go. We are going to start with the Gospel according to Spiritism, and tonight we are going to study chapter 19, and we will study items 11 and 12. Very short, but very important to all of us. Hello, Matthew. How are you? Nice to have you here with us. So if you are listening, please feel free to write your questions or write your comments so we can feel that you are participating with us. So as always, I will read a little bit and then we can comment about it. So the title is Faith, the Mother of Hope and Charity. So hope and charity are a consequence of faith. These three virtues form an inseparable trinity. It is not the faith that provides the hope of seeing the Lord's promises fulfilled. Because if you do not have faith, what do you hope for? Is it not the faith that provides love? Because if you do not have faith, what appreciation will you have? And consequently, what love? So the text is short, it's beautiful, but there is so much that we can talk about. So let's go. What can we talk about it? What can we talk about faith, hope, and charity?
I feel that the most important here is one of the most important here is not to think about them separately, right? They're always together. So one thing comes with another. You cannot love if you don't have faith. You cannot have faith if you don't love. And of course, you cannot do your charity if you don't believe in all of it. So for me, that's one of the most important points of this chapter.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Interesting. Jackie, what can you add?
In my understanding, and I was reading this a lot like prior to our session today, and basically, faith is something that comes from within. Faith is not only to say, "Oh, I have faith," or "I pray," or "I have rituals." Faith is, like Priscilla was saying, is linked to love, is linked to charity, and is linked to hope. Okay, when you have faith, you know that your faith will lead into something. In reality, if we think spiritually, my faith that something will happen may lead into two different outcomes. That thing will happen, or I will learn something if this thing doesn't happen. Whatever I'm wishing for, right? Whatever I'm praying for, where I'm faithful. So if I have faith in God, in everything that I do in my life, I will always do my best. We always have to do our best, but we trust that the best for us will happen to us. Not necessarily what we want, because sometimes what we want is not the best for us. Faith is knowing that the outcome of whatever you're praying for, you're asking for, is what is best for you. Maybe it's not going to be a material thing. I don't know if you're going to cover that part of this now, or if you want us to talk about that later. But maybe it's not something that is going to come in a material way. It's something that may come as a learning for you to become a better person, for you to become a better spirit.
Exactly. Exactly. So we should talk a little bit about this too. What can we say to people that say, I have so much faith that this, and this would happen, but it never happened, and now I lost my faith. What can we say to those people?
So can I go first, Jack?
Yes.
So starting at the point that if you are questioning it, maybe you don't have the faith that you think you have, right? So that's the most important part. But also, it's in a part of the gospel, it says that it's the biggest proof of humility that you can have, right? Because you need to believe that the best for you is going to happen, like Jack was saying, because you need to trust God. It doesn't matter if you think that was the best thing for you. Normally, we are human beings and we think like we know what's the best for us, what we need, but actually we don't. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the biggest point. You need to believe, like Jesus said in the gospel, why the apostles couldn't heal the boy, right, that was asking for help, because they did not have enough faith. So Jesus said, you can do the same as I do, but you don't have enough faith. So that's why you cannot heal someone or do something. So that's something that we really need to watch and try to understand what we need and what we want. That's the biggest difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jacqueline, do you want to say something before I go?
Actually, I wanted to use an example, Angie. I loved your question because I have I'm human, right? And this happened to me. 3 years ago, my mom was battling cancer. And me and my sister, we prayed and we prayed so much and we had so much faith. We believed that my mom was going to be cured. We really believed that my mom was going to be cured. And my mom used to go to a spiritual center in Sao Paulo. And I just packed everything and I moved to Sao Paulo for 3 months. And in the center, one of the mediums said, "Your mom is already cured." And we didn't understand. We believed that that was her material body that was cured. And that was her perispirit that was cured. She was going through what she needed to go through to be cured. What we didn't understand that the way that she was going to be cured was by leaving this world. Leaving this world and finishing whatever she needed to finish here in this world to go to the spiritual realm more pure, more at a higher energy level than when she incarnated in this level. So today, there were many times that we were questioning in the beginning, my sister and I, and then we just continued studying. And today, both my sister and I, we realized that the cure for my mom was for her to go to the spiritual life again. That's what she needed. It's not that.
This is it's beautiful. Thank you for sharing your experience. And the very important thing is what happened to both of you, because to a lot of people that the same thing happened. This happened also to people in my family. They got the same message. They got super excited, and unfortunately, the person died. And it generated some animosity, some anger, some like they didn't understand this way. They thought was a lie, was a bad medium. How could this happen? And brought some revolt. And unfortunately, this is not how we have to do. But exactly like Priscilla said, we are humans. We don't understand everything. And it doesn't mean the medium was a bad medium. It probably was exactly as you said. It's cured now, but not the physical body, the spiritual body. We know that when we reincarnate, we come with our level of karma, our level of necessities to improve. And many times we have to go through tests and atonements, and some of those is to discarnate with certain diseases. So it's beautiful when we understand and when we do not revolt, when we accept, when we understand, because this is giving proof of faith in the eternal life. We don't live one life only. And of course, it doesn't mean we are not going to miss our loved ones. People make a misunderstanding too. It's not that. Spiritists miss a lot their family. They cry, but they understand that one day we will meet again. And this makes things better. So this is exactly what Yvonne mentioned here. Faith is when you let go and you let God. God knows best. Exactly, Yvonne. Thank you so much. And we also have here Matthew. So Matthew talks about that's misplaced faith and blind faith. Okay, so girls, how can we quickly explain the difference between faith and blind faith in your point of view?
Well, what I can say in this specific case, blind faith would be we just believe, like in this case, that we just believed that she was going to be cured in this life, and we just believed in the world, right? And then in the word that was said to us, and when she passed away, we're like, how come this happened? And we would be totally angry with the whole situation, angry with God, angry with the fact that this medium lied to us. The other one was the faith that we try to understand. Okay, let's try to understand why is it that this happened, what's behind this, because we weren't as spiritual or as studied as my mom was, because my mom has been doing this her whole life, right? But we knew some concepts of it. Let's try to understand what this is, because it cannot be that this is not true. So we went and we went to study. We didn't take just for the word, just for the sake of word.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
kind of what, I don't know who wrote, it's not that we let go of my mom, we let go of this, of the blind faith, believing just in the word.
Mhm.
And a complement for that would be exactly what it says in the gospel, right? If you believe in something, know why you believe it, the reason why you believe it. You believe in God, why you believe it. So it's rational faith, right? You need to think and understand more than just believe because you believe.
Exactly. That's the big point, because a blind faith is like this. You believe in something that you don't even understand. This is blind faith. Oh, I believe in the reincarnation. And then someone says, "Okay, that's great. Can you explain?" "Oh, I don't know, but Divaldo Franco says that's what happens." This
Exactly.
is also a type of blind faith. The person don't even understand what is it, cannot give a minimal explanation, but because Divaldo Franco, a very famous medium from Brazil, says this is true, the person said, "Oh, Divaldo Franco said." So this is blind faith. But Spiritism actually helps us to have a rationality in every single thing, helps us to question everything. So we cannot have any type of blind faith. So this is very, very important for us to understand. And then all we have here, Roberta. Roberta says, "Jackie, exactly what happened with my mom too." So Jackie also passed by the same situation, Roberta. It's so painful, but we know they are in a good place, and we will meet them. We will meet them. Look who is here! Paul, hello,
Hey.
Paul. How are you? So Paul is saying, "I'm so happy that the Pri is with us, Priscilla." Joanna says, "You don't need to test your faith. If you have it, it will be there when you need it." Very good, Paul. Nice to have you here with us too.
Paul, it is there. It was there when we needed, because we studied. And right now, the faith, just another example, is that we believe that she's life. But going back to what Angie was saying, and also in the Spiritism, we learned this too. If we try to learn in some other areas, if you look at deep into, like, if you go to Christianism, if you go to other religions, or like Hindu yoga, they all talk about different lives. They don't call reincarnation, they don't call eternal life, but they talk about a different life. They believe in other life, right? Independently
Mhm.
of how, what words they use to describe it, of how they think it happens. There's a lot of different doctrines that are actually saying the same thing with different words.
Yes, yes, definitely. There are many philosophies that are very similar. Other day, I was mentioning to friends Edgar Tolle, and I have some friends that absolutely love him. He is really really good. I love to listen to his talks too, but sometimes take me quite some time to understand what he's saying, because the words are different. It's not because of English. It's because the words he uses it are a little bit different than the words we use in Spiritism, but he's actually talking about the same thing. He doesn't say soul, he gives a different name, but he's talking about the same principle. So this is beautiful. One day we will all be understanding each other, all the different religions, all the different philosophies, and we are not going to be fighting anymore. We are going to be united in one thing that's common to the majority. So this is very good. So what? Let me see. Matthew wrote here. Also, Jackie, did your faith belief help you and your sister heal your grief from your mom's death easier or faster?
Definitely easier and faster. Actually, I don't think my sister and I were in situation of anger. Of course, we had a few minutes here and there, but we weren't we weren't depressed. We weren't in situation of anger. Even the day of her the ceremony, the ashes ceremony, we took that as really she was being born in a different in a spiritual life.
Yes, I also have an experience. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, she was hospitalized for a long, long time, long, long time. So it was very painful for the whole family to see her dying little by little. And in the end, she couldn't talk, she couldn't move. She was almost like a vegetable. And it was very, very difficult. It was really painful to everybody, especially for my mom I was already a spiritist. My mom, no, she was a Catholic. So she kept asking me to pray for my grandmother to be good. And one day I arrived to her and I told her, Mom, I think we need to change our prayers. It was not my prayer for a long time, but I knew my mom was super connected. So I said, Mom, I think you need to start praying for God and asking God for the best thing for my grandmother to happen. And then my mother said, but that's what I'm doing. I'm always asking for her to be cured as soon as possible, the fastest way possible. And then I told my mom, I said, Mom, unfortunately, maybe God wants her to go, not to stay. And that was a shock for my mother because she didn't understand. What do you mean? Do you mean for her to die? Do you think this is good? So for my mom, that moment was very difficult. She was like, I can't do that. She's gonna die. And I said, Mom, sometimes the best thing for us is to die, because would you like her to stay few more months like a vegetable? She's not coming back. And then anyway, long story short, she cried a lot. And then one day she called me to say, I was already living in the US, so she called me to say, tonight I was able to pray for God and ask if it's her time to go. I'm okay with that. And then of course we cried, we talked, blah blah blah. 3 days my grandmother passed. So I knew that was the bond that my mother was like holding. We studied this in the books from André Luiz. There are many books that explain this. When the family is too connected, it's almost like the family is feeding the energy that the physical body does not have anymore. And the spiritual the spirits that are supposed to cut the silver cord, they have difficulties. So many times, that's what everybody knows. A person that's very, very sick, suddenly it's better. So the whole family feels relieved. The whole family think, okay, we can go home now. It's good. And when they leave, that's when the spirits can cut the silver cord. So this is very difficult for us to let go. But we all need to understand. Everybody has a time, and it's good when we understand it. It will still be painful, but at least we were able to let go the person that we love to feel better. So we have a Sol Souza here. Hello, Sol. Miss you, girl. So Sol is saying, have faith in all that it contains of a beauty and goodness, in its purity and in its reasoning. Do not accept faith that cannot be sustained, the blind daughter of blindness. Beautiful Sol, very beautiful. And then she continues, believe and hope without losing heart. Miracles are deeds of faith. Very nice. Thank you so much. Beautiful. So let's see our time, 26. Okay. I'm managing time today. But it's good. I love your comments, guys. Hello, Nora. How are you doing? Nice to have you here too. What else can we talk before we move? Is there anything else that we missed?
There's something that I want to say that is connect also, because you too gave an example of the death, right? So I'm gonna give an experience of the living.
Awesome!
Priscilla.
Yeah, because people need to know that it's not just when you are in the moments like that. Of course, I'm gonna give an example of something that wasn't good on the view of human beings, but of course, for me as a spirit, and for my um, the way that I'm transforming, I'm evolving, made the whole difference. So I'm 28. A few years ago, I had cancer. And I was already going to the Spirit Center here in the US. The difference that knowing about afterlife and all the everything that it happens, and about Jesus and God and all this helped me a lot. I could remember one day that I was just sitting in my bed, and I was like thinking, okay, this is happening because I needed that to happen, right? And I can remember that moment when I was sitting in my bed and thinking about that. So when I received the notice that I had cancer, it was over the phone with my doctor. So it was something very, very hard for me. But that was my thought. Happened to me because I needed it to happen. So the question that I made for me was not why me? And the right thing to ask was why not me? Right? So needed to happen to me. I learned a lot. And I really feel that after that day, after the cancer itself, just changed me like another person. I see everything so different. Whatever is the biggest problem, now it's like this, and you appreciate every moment, every friend, the family. So this is also about faith, believing that everything is going to be okay, and the reason why things they happened. So
Yeah, this is a beautiful testimony of a very, very strong faith,
yeah,
because everybody that is in a similar situation immediately gets desperate, and it starts with the why me, why me, why me deeply, and they don't leave the why me, they stay in why me forever. And
yeah,
it is difficult, only someone that's passing through to be able to understand. But yes, that's how we should do. Okay, I'm going through that. I don't think I would have the strength that you did. Why not me? I don't think I'm in that point. You're stronger than me. But I would say, okay, I am going through that. So, how can I have strength to go with the flow, knowing that I cannot control it? My life is in the hands of a God, and of course the
exactly.
doctors too. But so building up this strength, that is so important, especially
Yeah,
at this age, 28. Oh my
I
God.
was 24, 25. So
Oh my God, that's so hard.
yeah,
But I'm so
but
happy. I'm so happy that
no, thank you.
everything went well. This is a blessing. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and also what Jax said at the beginning, we were born with the seed, right? But if it's gonna grow or not, then it's up to us. So it's gonna stay there, just numb forever if you don't get out of that stage, the lactant stage, right? So also I need to thank you, the Spiritism, my friends, my family, because they were my support, but the Spiritism was like the biggest support for me. Yeah.
Yes, yes, it's true. It's true. It's a blessing. So Matthew said, you mentioned someone definitely ill, suddenly turn perfectly normal right before they die. I do hear of that happening. Yes, Matthew, this is actually very, very common. My whole family, they are doctors. They are not spiritists, but they are doctors by my father's side. And they said it is so super common. And in the Spirit's book, we see this, especially in the books of André Luiz. The family, many times, it wants so much the family member to remain. So they are together, they are praying, they are constantly in the bedroom of the person. So they are sending energy, sending vibrations to help the person. But they are actually chaining the spirit. The spirit is like attached to that. The spirit cannot free himself. And of course, if it was possible for the spirits to stay, to recover, this would be helping. But we are talking about the situation. There is no return. The spirits are already there to cut the silver cord. There is no help. I'm not talking about a case that there is a possibility. No, it's like in the spiritual point of view, because on the earth point of view, there is always a possibility. But I'm talking about the spiritual point of view. That's like, okay, the time finished. So this is something very, very common. And Saul said, Angela, I was doing my gospel at home tonight, and I opened the gospel randomly, and this message came talking about the faith. Faith, the mother of hope and charity. Ah, look at you, super connected. You are super connected with us, Saul. That's awesome. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk now about the divine faith and human faith. So the first paragraph says, faith is an innate sentiment in human beings of the future, of their future destiny. It is the awareness they have of the immense faculties whose seed was deposited in them, first in a latent state, and which they now must make blossom and growth by their active will. Okay, what can we talk? What's the difference about these two types of faith?
So, the first faith, it's well, let's talk about the human faith first, right? So the human faith is more connected to the material world, what we need here, the material life, right? So, for example, you have a job and you want to improve, get a higher rank or something like this. So you have faith that is going to happen, and you're going to study for that, work hard for that. So that's the human faith. And then for the divine faith would be the needs for the future life. If you believe that your life is not just one life, you work on things you're gonna grow as a spirit, as a human being, right? It's always a preparation for like the next life. Mm-hmm. So those are like the difference in my point of view, of course.
Yeah, very good. Do you want to add anything, Jackie?
Yes. And basically, when we have faith in something, it's not only saying, oh God, give me a job, and I sit here and I wait for the job. I have to, this that is going to help me is the fact that I have to be humble and look for job and interviews and get a lot of no's before I get a yes. Because during the process of finding a job, which is what I'm asking for, the faith that God is going to give me, that the process of getting there, I'm going to have a lot of learning opportunities. I'm going to have the learning opportunity to say no and not be upset and not give up and keep trying. This is the process, kind of like what Priscilla was saying in terms of the spiritual process. Or I say, oh, God, help me find a husband. I have faith that God is going to give me a husband if I'm single. I have a faith. But before I get to that perfect husband, I'm going to have to find other different partners that are going to give me experiences that are going to make me a better person until I reach that other person. That is the real faith.
And they are never perfect.
Perfect for what I need for my spiritual growth.
Yeah.
They may not be perfect the way I want, but they may be perfect for what I need.
Yes.
That's the faith. That's the faith, right? So I just wanted to add these two examples to what Priscilla was saying in terms of the divine faith and the material faith.
Yes. Do you want to say anything else?
No, we pray to God, but we have to help God help.
Yes.
Help God help us too.
It's not going to fall in our lap.
Yeah. Yes. If we pray, we just pray and we're not doing anything. This is blind faith again. So we pray for a job, go searching for a job, although it's not going to work. There is a beautiful example of very, very strong faith in the Bible, in the Testament, the New Testament. This is the moment that Jesus is walking with the disciples. And I think he was like a major, I don't know, he was not a soldier, he was some kind of commander in the Roman army. So he comes to Jesus and said, Lord, I really would like to ask you for my servant who is dying. And then Jesus said, okay, let's go to your home. And then he says, no, you don't need to go to my home. I'm not worth it. But if you say he will be cured, he will. And then Jesus stops everything. He talks to everybody around. And he says, if all of you had a little bit of the faith this man has, everything would be possible. Of course, it was not with these words, but this is the meaning. So the faith of the Roman military there was so strong that only Jesus saying was enough for him to understand his servant was going to be cured. And then they show that when he was arriving at his home, everybody starts screaming, it's a miracle, he's good, he's good. So this is to demonstrate the amount of faith we can also have to help to boost certain things. Here in the text, it talks about magnetism. Magnetism is an example of our faith boosting some energy that we have within ourselves. When we are giving passes, what is coming from our pores is our magnetic energy influenced by the enlightened spirits with our energy. So it's our energy plus the energy of the enlightened spirit. So that's why it's so strong. And of course, if it's strong on us, imagine that we are so imperfect. Imagine Jesus when he put his hand on, and so many passages of the Bible that you can read that Jesus imposed his hand. So Jesus was also giving passes. People don't realize that, but he was always giving passes, transferring his magnetic energy. Of course, not necessarily just with the hands, because we know that the word is also so strong, but this is just an example. This is really nice. So Saul said, yes, we have to do our part. Always, Saul, always. Although what's gonna happen? So there is a beautiful sentence that says that the spirit here that wrote this text, it's a protector spirit in Paris, 1863. The spirit says, faith is both human and divine. So this is beautiful, deeply touching our hearts. And we gave so many examples. I'm going to give another example. My son, when he was young, he never got sick. Really, is like rare. And one day he was like he had fever, and in that time my husband was working long hours. I was alone, and was like midnight, and I was thinking, my goodness, I will have to go to a hospital. How I'm going to do? And I remember he was like bad, and I remember he even mentioned me, give me a passy, and I'm like, the child thinks more than the mother. Mother in distress is like medication. And then it's like, oh my God, yes, I could give him a pass until I call a pharmacy because I had no medication. So he is on bed, and I give him a pass, and I am asking the enlightened spirits to help me to boost some good energy. And if there is a possibility of removing whatever is in him that is making him sick, please do it. I finish the passy. Immediately he sit and he vomit. He vomit everything. And immediately his fever start coming down, and boom, I didn't even need to buy medication. So I just said that because we are spiritists, we have faith, and sometimes when comes a moment that we need to demonstrate it, to be strong in our beliefs, we forget. That's me. Instead of immediately thinking, no, let me give him a pass, let me pray, let me, no, I'm like, oh, I don't have medication, oh my god. So I think the enlightened spirits couldn't reach me, so they actually reached to the child and told the child, tell your mom to give you a pass, okay? And that's what happened. So thank you, thank you, thank you. But many times that's what happened to us. Very good. Let's go to our next book. What is Spiritism? So before we jump in our next book, I just want to let you all know, I think I already mentioned this here, like very briefly, but it would be good to say. We open our Spiritist Center here in Miami, in Coconut Grove. We opened it since April 13. But we open in a very small group. Everybody is vaccinated, and we are trying to keep everything good with no variants around us. But it's very exciting to be able to go out to meet our friends. Jacqueline is a member, so we all come together on Tuesdays, and these are the books we are studying. So we start with the Spirit's book, then we go to the Medium's book, and then we go to We Are All Mediums, because mediumship is something that attracts a lot of people. A lot of people that, especially that are spiritualistic, they are very excited about it, but they don't really understand how to deal with it. So Spiritism, it's a blessing because Kardec codified all the 5 books of the Pentateuch, and the Medium's book is like a super code for mediums to understand what is good and what is not good, and how to behave and how to understand the spirits. And in the past, our people had blind faith that every spirit is an angel, or had the ones that were super against that every spirit is a devil. And we know it's not either. There are thousands of spirits in between. So it's good for us to understand. So this is just to talk about another good thing that happened here in Miami. So I'm going to share with you the book. So we are going to read and we are going to comment. So this portion here, let me go back of the chapter, is called Mediums for Hire. So we read this the last month, and now we are going to do this one here. So Jackie, would you like to start reading, please?
Yes. Visitor, I can understand this line of reasoning from a moral point of view. However, isn't it fair for those who give their time to the interest of their cause to be compensated for it if it keeps them from working for a living? And Allan Kardec says, in the first place, are they really doing it in the interest of their cause, or are they doing it for their own gain? If they did leave their job, it was because they were not satisfied with it, and because they hope to earn more or work less at their new one. There is no self-sacrifice in giving one's time when it can lead into making a profit from it. And this profit can be either pleasure or money, right? That would be like saying that the baker makes bread in the interest of humankind. Mediumship isn't the only resource to open to them. Without it, they would have to earn their living some other way. When good,
Okay, so let's it's very very long, so we can't read everything, but let's just summarize because I have many pages. So basically, in this text, what Kardec is saying that a person came and asked him here, isn't it fair for those who give their time up to the interest of their cause to be compensated for it? So the person basically saying, shouldn't the mediums that are trying to help spiritism be paid, get a salary for this? So Kardec is explaining that, if the person left their job to work with this, is not any type of sacrifice. It's because the person is actually seeing some kind of profit. So nobody's going to leave a good job for a bad job. If the person is switching, it's because there is something good this person is seeing it. And then Kardec goes on talking about mediumship, and as Jackie just said, like mediumship isn't the only resource open to them. So nowadays we understand that we follow the teachings of Kardec, understanding that the mediums, they should have a job, their own job. Let me just remove this for a little bit. They should have their own job and exercise the mediumship for free, because give for free what you received for free. Jesus told this, Chico Xavier reminded us, Divaldo Franco gives examples. So these are the two mediums from Brazil. So it's very important for us to understand. Girls, would you like to talk a little bit before we come back to read again about the mediumship that's paid?
I just want to say that when we think about mediums, we also need to think that it's not just spiritists, right? It can be whoever. Well, we are human beings and we are mediums. All of us, we are mediums. So when you have a doctrine like spiritism that actually teaches you that you're not supposed to charge for it because it is a gift, even though something happened in another life that you received that mediumship or etc. It's a gift for you. So you need to help. It's charity, right? You do it for free. You do it for pleasure, to the benefit of others. Of course, you benefit from it, but not in money wise. You benefit in your evolution, right? In being a better person. So that's very important to know as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jackie, do you want to add anything?
yes. And if we think about Allan Kardec, right? Allan Kardec, he was a professor. Of course, he stopped being a professor and then he started writing the books, receiving the messages. He didn't profit from it. Like in the book, where there was one part that said there are other means, there are different means of doing. What was he doing? He was doing accounting in the middle of the night. He would just go during the day to find and study more about the spiritism. But to keep his life and to keep his home and everything else, he would work at night. He would stay the whole night doing the bookkeeping for the
Mm-hmm.
person that gave him an opportunity, right? And there are many other examples. Chico Xavier. Chico Xavier was the same thing. Divaldo Franco, all of the resources that he receives, it's not that he's paid. What he does is to invest in charity, is to invest in the house that he has for all the children of the community where the house is, right? And helping all the families around that school, the community, all the house. And so many people learn different professions from the money that comes from the books that Givaldo. You can make money as long as the money is turned into something of charity in terms of love. So it all depends on how you use that money. Can be paid, yes, it can be paid, in my opinion, even though it's not what is in written there. It's just looking at the examples, the example of Allan Kardec, the example of Chico Xavier, the example of Divaldo Franco, and I'm sure there are many others, it's just that I don't know of.
Yes, but in the sense it can be paid is a little tricky because then people are going to understand. Okay, so I can pay Angie $100 for her to do a mediumship session for me, and she will use the money in the best way she wants. But this is not a good explanation because we understand that anything related to money and spirituality, it's kind of dangerous. So she could, Divaldo Franco, for example, he's not paid. Nobody pays Divaldo Franco. As Jackie explained, he has a gigantic nonprofit that takes care of hundreds of families. And he provides schools, he provides dental, medical. So nobody actually pays Divaldo, but gives donations to the whole nonprofit, just to clarify, because it's very important for us to understand it, because a lot of people say no, but I will give you money. I'm not paying you, I'm giving you money. But it's all in the mind of that person. She is giving me that gift to connect with the spirit. This is just a just an example. Nobody's trying to pay me for mediumship, but it's just an example for us to understand how it can be tricky, that the people that don't understand. For example, in New York, in the Spiritist Center that I used to be the president, sometimes we gave the spiritual treatment for people. They used to go to the center for 4 weeks to receive special passes, and then they felt really good. So usually at the end, they wanted to pay us, and then we are like, no, it's free. You don't pay for anything. It's free. And then, no, but how is that free? And then most of those people, they were not spiritists. They were going through some kind of a spiritual turmoil, and a person that was a spiritist told them to come, and they were American. So in America, this concept is very, very close and is very acceptable. And then we were like, no, don't worry, it's everything, it's free. If you would like to come back to study with us, and if you would like to understand more about our Spiritist Center, then we would tell them we have many causes, we help places, and of course, the Spiritist centers, they have to pay for rent, for water, electrical, whatever. But it's important for them to understand they are not paying for a service. Like here in the text, for example. So Kardec explains, for each honest medium, there would have been hundreds of charlatans who, by exploiting an authentic or simulated faculty, would have done great harm to Spiritism. So, in the time of Kardec, for example, was already very difficult to make people to understand that the Spiritism was something honest, because there were so many charlatans doing the same thing, and making a real theater to pretend to have some mediumship, that he had to be very strong and write about this in many papers, in many books. And in this book specifically, he goes in details explaining why it's not good. So here he continues. Spiritism condemns every type of speculation in whatever form or disguise it pretends itself. Serious and sincere mediums avoid even the appearance of might suggest the slightest hint of cupidity casting its shadow over them. Profit with their faculty would be an insult. So that's like he's trying to explain how important it is to do for free what you received for free. And then let me see what Matthew wrote here. I think it's better that they don't get paid with that, because material wealth yields all kinds of corruption, like fraud, thus harming the movement. Yes, Matthew, you just mentioned what Kardec just said. Exactly, it's so dangerous. And then we have a Saul saying there are a lot of mediums that don't know about spiritism. They don't know what we know, so they charge. Yes, I believe this is what Jackie was mentioning about. Isn't
And
that, Jackie? Because it's normal for them to charge, is what they understand.
the other example that we actually studied one of the Tuesdays, we talked about it. One good medium that had like great gifts was John of God.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I think it was Matthew that said that he started leading into other things, into pride. And what happened to John? I think the money that he was receiving led him into probably getting into his ego, getting into his head, and doing the things that he did, and he ended up losing everything.
Exactly, exactly. End
But
up corrupting him,
yeah.
because in the beginning he was really gifted. He was really good and very loving, and so many people were really cured by him. So many, it's true. But yes, with the time, unfortunately, he started corrupting his own person. He starts using his fame, power to impress people around him, to use sexually abuse the girl. So very sad, very, very, very sad what he did. So did I miss anything? No, I think no. So what else do you girls wanna? Let me just read the last sentence, and then we can comment anything else. So when the exploitation of mediumship leads to abuses that jeopardize the doctrine, serious spiritism is right in condemning and repudiating it as an aid.
We just
So
said that.
Kardec answered. Yes. So
Kardec is here with us.
yeah, exactly. So it's so sad here, and as he explains in the text too, if people don't believe when a medium is doing everything for free, it's not charging anything, it's benefiting so many people. I'm talking about, for example, Chico Xavier, for the most famous medium from Brazil. For a long period of years, Chico Xavier was receiving messages from the children of thousands of women. The children died. There is a beautiful movie called Chico Xavier, and there is another one called The Mothers of Chico. This is exactly about this. The Mothers of Chico tells the story of three different mothers that lost their kids, and Chico Xavier connected them in many different ways. It's absolutely beautiful. If you haven't seen, go to YouTube, The Mothers of Chico. I think even in English you find As Mães de Chico, with subtitles in English. And it talks exactly about this. But a lot of people still called Chico Xavier a charlatan, because they thought was absolutely lie. And when many Brazilian TVs interviewed some of those thousands of mothers, showing the letters with the handwriting very, very similar to their sons, or with examples that only them knew. So like, how Chico Xavier was going to discover that? So unfortunate, when people want to be against, they will be. But I mentioned that because if Chico Xavier was charging $1,000 for each letter, would be much, much worse. If they don't believe when he did everything for free, imagine if he was charging. And this is just food for thought. Food for thought. When people don't want to believe, nothing will make them to believe. That's the point. So, Priscilla, do you want to add anything?
No, it's just what you're saying right now. Think about if the person is doing it for free, it's from the heart, right? It's doing it because wants to do it. It's there to give their time, their experience, and all this, their mediumship, and all this. When you pay someone, this person that is getting paid, this is saying here in this text, right? The person that is getting paid kind of think like I have to give a result because I'm getting paid for it. It doesn't mean that it's the real one, right? If you think about the spirits, they're not here just waiting for me to, oh, I want to talk to my grandmother right now. Oh, come here. She's waiting. It's not like this. How can you schedule a time to go to someone to talk to a spirit? You don't know if it's the spirit that you want to talk to. So this is also another thing that we always need to think about, right? I can say it's my grandmother, and it's actually not. I'm not saying that the person is not seeing someone or something, but it normally or probably it's not going to be what I am expecting. So
exactly. Jackie, do you want to add any final words?
I want to just share. I told you that one day too that after my mom passed, my sister and I we were we knew that she was going to better, but I'm like I still want to talk to her. I want to know how she's feeling. And I went to a Spiritist center in Bahia. I actually went all the way to Salvador because I wanted to talk to my mom. And I went to the Spiritist center and I said, when I got to talk to the medium, I said, what do you want to like? I just want to have a message from my mom. And she said, my sister, we don't have a telephone that you can just go and call your mom so she can talk to you. You know what to do? You go inside your heart. Anywhere you go, she's going to be there, and the answer will be in your heart. It gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, but that's it.
Wow. Look at that. You travel so far away, and then the answer was within you. Yeah. That's a beautiful testimony too. Very, very beautiful. Very, very beautiful.
Thank you.
With that, Jackie, would you like to make our final prayer, embracing all this beauty that we had today? So many people participating with the comments was very exciting.
I'll connect with the phone like the line with my mom to help me with the prayer today. No, of course I would. Dear God, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity of being together tonight to read about these books, to read about these texts, and have an opportunity to reflect and learn with the different experiences. The beautiful experience from Priscilla about her faith and her recovery. The other experiences that were shared here, the beautiful comments that were posted by the people that are watching. We all learn with each other here today. And please help us apply the principle of faith, a faith that is rational, a faith that is always keeping for learning, a faith that will help us keep the hope and keep the charity that things will happen the way we need it to be and not necessarily the way we want it to be. Please guide us through the rest of this time until we meet again, and so be it.
So be it. Awesome. Very good. Very beautiful. Thank you so much, my friends, all of you that participated with us. Loved all the comments. Thank you, Priscilla, Jackie. It was really, really good. Today was like, we had the texts were so small, but the comments were like, whoa, huge.
We should do another one.
Yes, very good, very good. So, my friends, it was awesome. Thank you so much. We will be seeing you again in 1 month. Don't miss it. Thank you so much. Girls, wait a little bit. I want to talk to you. Bye.
Bye.